If there is one gateway cheese where you're really going to benefit from understanding the signs of spoilage, it's the Brie Gateway. Brie type cheeses are the most likely to be found at a store already overripe and past their prime. If you buy one of those cheeses and you bring it home, it's not going to make you sick, but it's not going to taste good either. And you're probably going to walk away having spent a bunch of money, being kind of pissed off that you threw the cheese away, and generally thinking that Brie types taste like soap, ammonia, and they're not supposed to. So, what all Brie types share in common is this soft, edible rind on the outside of the cheese. That's generally a white rind, but it's really common that you'll find Brie types that have a little bit of brown mottling to the rind. The first thing you want to know when you're shopping in a store is the difference between the right amount of brown and too much brown. So let's take this cheese as an example. This is a white rinded triple creme, and you can see it's got some brown lines. That, to me, is a perfect example of the right amount of brown. What you don't want to see is a rind that has become entirely brown, like this one. It's sticky, it's wet, it's mushy, and you see more brown than white. The second thing that you don't want to see is what I'll call too much of a cream line. Okay, so what's a cream line? Many of the Brie types will start to break down and get gooey and creamy right under the rind. For me, when I'm eating it, that can be the best part. Here's an example of what a cream line should look like. You can see the cheese is breaking down, it's darker yellow, it's creamier and squishier, and then there's this sort of chalky white core at the center. Depending on the size of the cheese, a cream line should be really, really thin to maybe 1/8 of an inch thick. What you don't want to see is this. This is a cheese where the cream line, when I bought the cheese, which I did at a store 3 days ago, was about 1/2 inch thick. It was yellow to the point of being almost brown, and there's more brown than white on the rind. When this cheese came to room temperature, which took about an hour, and that's how I recommend you serve all cheeses, you can see what happened. That cream line became liquid. There's a little core at the center, surrounded by this incredibly spoonable, runny, liquidy texture. Don't let anybody tell you that the cheese is supposed to be spoonable. If it's supposed to be spoonable, it's going to be sold in a wooden box, or it's going to be bounded with a piece of bark or wood to hold it together. If it's this runny and liquidy, it's overripe and it's not going to taste good. In the case of this cheese, it's a goat's milk cheese and it tastes like black pepper and soap. It's really unpleasant. The other thing that you may see in your fridge at home and you may see in the store is a little bit of this kind of surface mold. It's almost as if the white rind started to grow over the cut face of the cheese. This is something you can deal with. You can do what's called trimming the cheese, where you just cut a thin piece away and what's underneath is totally good, totally edible. The cheese itself is not overripe. It was probably wrapped a little carelessly, or the knife that cut the cheese dragged some of the mold onto the cut surface. If you see this in a store, don't buy it because it means it's been sitting there for a while. But if you see this at home, you can just trim it away. In terms of smell, Brie types have a dead giveaway for spoilage, which is strong smells of ammonia. Ammonia is a natural byproduct of cheese. A little bit of ammonia is fine, but if you walk past this cheese when it's unwrapped and you get a strong whiff, it sort of makes your eyes water, that's a cheese that's overripe. So if you get that at home, eat it up fast, or if you just don't like the flavor, throw it away. Those are some things to keep in mind when you're shopping for the Brie types, the ones that are most likely to be sold to you already past their prime. Don't fall prey to that trick.